Okay, we've done the holiday cheer. Um, Now let's play a game about betraying the government. Totally fiction. Codename Typhoon. Moscow, USSR, 2017. When the Cold War flashed high at the end of 1953, the United States nuked China and Korea, and the Soviet Union took New York City off the map. But now, even after the psychic revolution of the 1980s, the imperial fortunes of the great powers are wanting, and the Cold War is running cold indeed. The USSR, hoping to regain some of its long lost glory, plans a May Day celebration commemorating 100 years of Soviet uh, communism. Communism? Yeah, communism. But the US has its own plans. Agent Angelica Gorpheus Rhythmic Triad Typhoon is a psychic secret agent working for the CIA's Secretive Spirituality Division, codename the Goatman. Her mission is to smuggle a nuclear weapon into Moscow and detonate it at the end of the celebrations, killing all the Kremlin's top brass in one fell swoop. However, Agent Typhoon is captured in the course of her mission and brought to a KGB black site. There, she faces an unexpected enemy, a turncoat Goatman agent, and her own mentor. Now going by the name Psycho Soldier Number 7, she seeks to defeat her former student with her psychic powers. 4 hours until the bomb goes off. Can Agent Typhoon make it out? I was incredibly flattening this game story by saying it's about betraying the government, but it's obviously sort of a like one secret agent trying to get another secret agent to like turncoat sort of. I mean, because it's from the 2026 Ryoma Yuri visual novel jam, a type of Tatsukiri. You gotta understand, like, there's gonna be a sexual tension. Additionally, Codename Typhoon includes a mix of hand-drawn 2D and pre-rendered 3D work, 8 original music tracks composed and orchestrated in the tradition of spy films, thrilling political twists in a retro-futuristic alternate history setting inspired by the classic spy fiction of the Cold War era, and homoerotic violations of the Geneva Convention. Disclaimers: Codename Typhoon features some sensitive content, while including depictions of violence and mature themes, which may not be appropriate for certain audiences. Sexual violence is referred and suggested, but not explicitly depicted. Actions portrayed within the game's story may be considered criminal, antisocial, and/or unethical. Such acts are not endorsed by the developers. Viewer discretion is advised. So yeah, this is this is a game by Gravity House, which is a like a visual novel circle that one of our friends is in, the joystick system, and we want to give the game a try, and I'm glad we waited so long because what was the best day to play a game about a bombing on May Day than on May Day? Like, holy shit! Like, I had missed that point. I had just kind of like sort of like tentatively like threaded that needle like in my head. It's like, yeah, this probably be a good game to play today, and it's like, oh wait, it's a really good game to play today. So yeah, this is the itch.io page. Wait, am I not? Oh wait, I forgot. I am this is the browser we use on streams, which is not logged into our account. Not that it matters because I have a folder. I'm not gonna be playing Project Typhoon from like the itch.io launcher, which is what we play most of the itch.io games we download from are. But we've been trying to like move away from that because, well, itch.io is kind of compromised in a lot of ways. Like when we finally do a game, hopefully, we probably will do like Dead to Dead Death and literally have a game page, but have the way to play the game offsite. as you do. Gonna drop in a few minutes. We'll check it out later. Okie dokie. Thanks for hanging out. I thought I opened it. Oh, the log opened. That means it's happening. It's happening. Okay, we're full screened. Yes, one more second. Like a really long second. I like this music. Happy May Day. How many chapters are there? We'll have to unlock the chapters, duh. Play the game, forehead. It's hard to tell whether you're awake or asleep from the inside of a heavy-duty blindfold. And that's exactly what it's meant for. The first step of any competent interrogation is always to deprive the subject of their senses. Everyone imagines themselves to be hard, the kind of person who wouldn't crack under pressure. But the truth is, the human body is just a piece of meat. In terms of how it's put together, it's almost identical to the bird which falls asleep when a cloth is draped over its cage, just because it thinks it's nighttime. Whether or not it's rational, in the cold light of the day, doesn't even begin to come into it. There are some things that you, as an overgrown monkey, just have no control over. Did my camera die? That was like the weirdest time for that to happen. Ugh. Forgive me. We're just gonna sit on that for a minute while I try to fix myself. Wow. What happened? It just suddenly. Active. Let me try to fix this. We hadn't even been using our VTuber model for a while, so it's actually kind of funny. Because we've been having lots of technical issues lately. I guess just turn it off, turn it back on. Shit, I might even restart the game. I guess I should go out of just chatting anyway. But everything working exactly as intended is boring, right? I love being an independent VTuber. I love spy thrillers. Now, something about the premise made me think of like Yuri Metal Gear Solid, not gonna lie. Okay. One. I think I've almost got this fixed. Alright, we're balling. It's hard to tell whether you're awake or asleep from the inside of a heavy-duty blindfold. That's exactly what it's there for. The first step of any competent interrogation is to always deprive the subject of their senses. Everyone imagines themselves to be hard, the kind of person who wouldn't crack under pressure. But the truth is, the human body is just a piece of meat. In terms of how it's put together, it's almost identical to a bird which falls asleep when a cloth is draped over its cage, because it thinks it's nighttime. Whether or not it's rational, in the cold light of day, doesn't even begin to come into it. There are some things that you, as an overgrown monkey, just have no control over. Sensory deprivation works in a way that the shit they do in the movies doesn't. because there's no amount of bravado that'll help you with it, you know? And so, I let my other senses fill in what my vision lacks. I can feel the cold metal of a chair beneath me, the harsh plastic of the flex cuffs against my wrists. I strain my hands against the cuffs, hoping to reach my watch, my lifeline, but not quite getting there. I feel the pinching of some kind of sharp metal I inserted into my wrist. That's been inserted into my wrist. Possibly some kind of IV hookup. I even take in the smells. I can tell from the cold, damp, earthy smell that we're somewhere underground. But there's more to it than that. I detect the sharp, bright hint of rubbing alcohol and the dour, pungent notes of rotten meat. What is with my fucking reading today? So bad at it. I hear the echoing of a faint chatter and the faraway footsteps. And I also hear a familiar voice. I know this voice well enough that I can feel the contours of the words it speaks. I know it so well that when the woman it belongs to slurs a word, I can still tell what she's saying. I can tell because the way she shapes these words is so intimately familiar to me. She asks me, "Do you ever think about having an appendectomy? Just throwing all this shit out and starting over from scratch? Trying to live a normal life as best you're able?" For an Esper, an appendectomy may as well be a kind of castration. And while I'm still a bit hazy from the chloroform or whatever else they knocked me out with, I can at least remember that castration is bad? I think. But like, maybe a bit cool too. Like, it's badass. But it's not badass to say that it's badass. It's like secret badass, you know? But no, that's not the point. I answer the question. Castration movie ass. Castration sounded cool. Let's think more about castration. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think the castration seems pretty damn cool. I mean, sucking and fucking without a care in the world. Couldn't get anybody pregnant even if you wanted to, with no nuts getting in the way of everything. That sounds like a very, very tempting offer. Supposedly, it makes you less of a man, but that's some fucking pallet tie fucking cufflink fucking brand new Brooks Brothers blazer ass thinking. I mean, who wants to have sets to make babies and not just to fuck? Only loose-shirted, khaki pants weasels who only desire is to turn you into a baby mill, shooting out a billion more little shits to manufacture, sell, and purchase loose shirts, khaki pants, and Brooks Brothers blazers. Castration is freedom. Free association, free conscience, and best of all, free love. And anyone who has ever wanted to exercise the freedoms they have on paper has always been called a degenerate in one way or another. If you want to dress how you like, wear your hair how you like, hang out with the crowd you like, listen to the music you like, whatever, then they'll call you what they like, whether that's a beatnik, a redneck, a Rosalindo, or what have you. All those words meaning red, and red meaning homo. Castration is just another victim of a smear campaign. This campaign, waged ceaselessly on both sides of the Pacific, helps to destroy the freedom we are rightly owed. And their weapons are not bombs nor economic sanctions, but rather the media. They seek to cripple freedom totally, by tarring its public reputation so thoroughly that no one will be brave enough to ask for it. No one except, of course, rowdy kids easily dispersed with water cannons, their pamphlets sodden and their hopes dashed. Yes, that's the strategy of the campaign, to make freedom embarrassing, and its expression antisocial. Castration is a middle finger to all that. I don't care about your values, which came free with the blazer anyway. I am, in fact, a beatnik redneck Roslindo, and you do not have the right to decide or even understand my values. I say with the full force of freedom behind me. As soon as we're done here, I'm gonna get a hysterectomy. The mission, my imprisonment, Moscow, everything is melted away in the light of a higher principle. In fact, I wish it were possible for me to grow testicles just so I could have the pleasure of cutting them off. Castration is freedom. It's the spirit of 40 sits. Freedom is just 2 holes, one for urination, one for defecation. Angie, is that philosophy or some new American means of resisting interrogation? It's actually Psychic Secret Agent Angelica, Gorpheus Rhythmic Triad Typhoon. No, wait. That's not what she was asking. There's nothing American about it, and there's nothing Soviet about it. There's also nothing anti-American or anti-Soviet about it either. Freedom is freedom. It doesn't matter what country you're in or what economic system you're under. Throw a dart at the map, and freedom is freedom there. You carry it with you. Well, if it's the same to you, how about we start with the appendix? And if there's anything else you want out after, you just let me know. It must be said that while psychic attacks hurt, there's a limited amount they can actually do to you. As she prepares to perform the psychic appendectomy, I can feel the scalpel carving into my skin, slowly slicing open my abdominal cavity. But there's something missing. No matter what another esper is trying to do to you, as long as you can think through the pain, there's a way for you to fight back. If I could bring my hands down to what already feels like a gaping wound, I would discover there's absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. There would be no blood, no viscera, just flat skin. But that's not to say the psychic attacks are useless, or just cheap parlor tricks. The real art of making psychic attacks is how you layer them. It's like painting with sensation. You think of the worst thing you can imagine to happen to your target. But if you can't get them to believe in it, you might as well not even bother. Even a procedure as common, technical, and precise as the appendectomy can, as soon as get your hands to the site, feels like nothing more than a tickle. But my assailant is no amateur. That much is clear. Starting with a blindfold and bound hands is just good sense. Sight and touch are the first senses a trained esper will use when attempting to counter a psychic attack. What's impressive is that she can apply that scalpel's force not only to my abdomen, but also to each of my fingers, all at the same time. At the base of each finger, these scalpels reach inside and draw perfect circles, severing the flesh of my fingers from my hands. Then, from that circle, up and back down again, the scalpels dissect each finger into upper and lower sections, perfectly bisecting them. From there, all that I need to feel is the sensation of having each of these segments pulled away, one at a time, perfectly degloving them all. If I ever saw my hands again, I'll be shocked to find anything other than bloody stumps where my fingers once were. If I tried, I could still move muscles that are still attached, and to bones which have not fallen to the floor, but rather are perfectly encased in flesh. But without some other stimulus, and with the scalpel in my abdomen still carving, how can I believe that my body is telling that what my body is telling me is wrong? And if I can't imagine moving my fingers, if I can't even imagine them being there anymore, then how am I supposed to imagine touching my abdomen to see that there's no appendectomy occurring? The pain of a psychic attack is dark, and it's cold. The reason you can overcome it, given the right circumstances, is that it's insubstantial. Take, for example, blood. Trying to correctly model the flow of blood involves fluid mechanisms of such complexity that there are only a handful of experts in the whole world who can do it. And that is a genuine parlor trick. If you get it wrong, the body can tell without a second thought that something doesn't add up, and instantly your target has a way to fight back. If you get it right, it almost doesn't matter. The effect is so minor that it's basically negligible. It's a gamble for almost literally no benefit. So, psychic wounds don't feel like wounds. They feel like your brain is making a very convincing argument that you are wounded. It doesn't matter even if you know you're not. Your stupid monkey brain is screeching at you, trying to get you to understand that something is very, very wrong. If you insist that it's mistaken, then it just takes that as an excuse to start screeching louder, because it is the part responsible for keeping the body alive, and it has been doing this much longer than you. You are the bird in the draped over cage. As my brain tells me that this woman is peeling away the skin over my abdomen like the drapery over a cage, I can't help but agree. All my muscles tense, like my body is trying to turn itself into a living suit of armor. It's possible that my hands are the same way, balled into fists so tight that you couldn't pry them open. But if they are, I can't tell. My stomach is in a state of open revolt. It's only through years of training that I managed to keep myself from vomiting. And then the knife makes its ingress. I can't tell if the swift, precise grace that characterized the earlier strikes is gone or not. The pain is so overwhelming that I am no longer have the capacity to make such subtle indistinctions. And there is no shock. Not now. I can feel absolutely everything. Every microsecond that she works, it just gets worse and worse. The monkey brain doesn't know what metal is, in the same way that it doesn't know that none of this is really happening. All that it can tell me is there is something inside me that really, really should not be there. Get out, it screams. Get out. Whatever you think you're going to do that justifies this damage, it's not worth it. Get out. Run. When she makes the final cut, severing my ability to use my psychic abilities as effortlessly as she severed my ability to use my own fingers, it almost comes as a relief. The worst is over. When the incision is finally closed, I slump down in my chair, my head irradiated with shock. Whether or not anything happened is irrelevant. Soon enough, my body will regain its sense of itself and will realize that nothing, in fact, has been lost. But in light of what I think has been done to me, it's all I can do to keep myself upright and conscious. There. She audibly dusts her hands, as if she did anything with her hands at all. All done now. If you or anyone else, I think that would spare me any further remarks. But I know you too well for that. And now that you've been declawed, Agent Typhoon, I think it's time for you to open your eyes.
September 1945. With the defeat of the Axis, the world is once again cleft in twain, between East and West, between communism and capitalism. With the newly unveiled power of the atomic bomb, the clash between the USSR and the United States is poised to be the greatest conflict in all human history. October 1953. After years of fighting and the decimation of the Korean population, the United States seemed poised to lose its first proxy battle of the new Cold War on the Korean Peninsula. US President Dwight D. Eisenhower orders nuclear bombs dropped on Pyongyang, Seoul, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou.
Thank you so much for pronouncing those words for me.
While Soviet soldiers and petty officers succeed in averting all-out nuclear war, 2 Soviet bombs are loaded. The first, intended to be dropped on Washington, D.C., is intercepted. The second, intended to be dropped on New York City, is not.
Oh, I guess this is like their 9/11, but with nukes.
December 1953. Eisenhower is faced with nativist backlash, and newly appointed Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev holds power only tenuously. The two men meet, as their predecessors had, in Yalta to discuss terms of peace to avert a Third World War. When a treaty is signed, both men return home and immediately set about massively increasing military and espionage capacity. June 1983. US President Nixon, in his 4th and final term, signs the Billy Goat Memorandum. A rabid anti-communist called the New Monroe in the press, Nixon has long sought an edge over the forces of communism in Latin America. The CIA believe they have found this new Monroe a new edge. Through a program of psychological conditioning, patriotic indoctrination, and the ingestion of massive quantities of extremely potent hallucinogenic drugs.
Oh, this is an alternate history, but they're basing on shit that they actually did experiment with. Like, there was, like, trying to make psychics, and America and other countries did try to make psychics, or try to train psychics, and did experiment heavily with hallucinogenics on people so that they would be, like, better soldiers, or just more loyal. Fun. Hey, Greedra. You're one to talk. Cuties all over the shop today.
They have produced the first ever battalion of psychic soldiers. Codename
Typhoon.
The Goatmen.
Oh. Sorry, I was just like, title drop!
Through the Billy Goat Memorandum, Nixon authorized the deployment of goatmen all across the world. Through acts of telekinesis, remote viewing, precognition, and astral projection.
Astral projection's my shit.
They immediately become renowned as the elite of the elite.
That's how I sit on your chest when you're sleeping, chat. I'm the demon. Don't worry, I only bite a little.
And finally,
sorry, I was taken away from the super cool espionage history drop.
April 2017. After a great outpouring of imperial energy following the psychic revolution, the fortunes of the world's greatest superpowers have at last begun to wane. In hopes of sparking an outpouring of nationalist sentiment, the USSR plans its greatest national celebration ever. A May Day parade and festival celebrating 100 years of Soviet communism.
Wow. You gotta hand it to him.
But the United States plans to make the event something altogether different. Psychic Secret Agent Angelica Gropius' rhythmic triad Typhoon is one of the Goatman's top agents, and she's been given the assignment of a lifetime. She is to smuggle a nuclear bomb into Moscow and to detonate it at the height of the festivities, killing the Kremlin's entire top brass in one fell swoop.
This
This
is Codename Typhoon. No, that was not me. That was not me. That was all the game. Promise. Gosh. Like that was like that was like mixed and shit. Oh damn, I gotta there we go. Only that part has been voiced so far. I think at the time you came in, you probably came in right when the voiceover started. But most of this game is not voiced. Though, I don't actually know that. This is the first time I played it, so I don't know what other else is voiced. But at least the two main characters are not voiced. Though, it's fine. I like, you know, taking a load off. Interesting. I should probably save again. Oh, hello. As she pulls the blindfold off me, I can't help but smile. In spite of the pain, it's like seeing an old friend after a long time away. No matter how much has changed, there's something about them that's unmistakable. I knew you weren't dead. Oh, but she made a show of it, of course. There was a disputed island between the Soviet Union and Japan, an underwater missile base off its coast, a massive explosion, a missing airplane, and all kinds of other such things. You know, a normal person looking to defect would have just bought a plane ticket. All that cloak and dagger shit was already out of style in 2009. I always knew the Psychic Secret Agent Imogen Lotus Eater Golden Ratio Hurricane was too good to let the bastards get her that way. Shut the fuck up, Angie. She's paler, though I imagine that comes with the territory. When moving to Russia, she's lost weight. She looks like she's swimming in that coat of hers. Even after almost a decade, she's probably not used to the cold. I see what that is. Now that you defected, you captured me in my darkest hour, and now you hope to interrogate me to wheedle out... I said... She speaks with more exhaustion than anger. Shut the fuck up, Angie. I don't do this shit anymore. I'm not Agent Hurricane anymore. And if you think I need information out of you, then you're sorely mistaken. I nod, taking stock of the situation. You think you have me right where you want me, don't you? She also nods, her face stapled straight. You think you got me totally figured out, don't you? Another nod. But what you're not counting on is that my mission is to detonate a nuclear bomb in the center of Moscow at 12 noon, which is approximately, she checks her watch, 4 hours from now. I can't have been out for more than 2 or 3 hours, then, having left the hotel at 4, though for all I know, she could be lying, trying to throw my sense of time off even further. Figures you know my phone's passcode. Would've changed it if only I'd been expecting you. She stifles a laugh, crackling a disdainful smirk. You really think I need to remember that, Angie? That's cute. The CIA's operational security is worse than its code names. We've known about the bomb for 2 weeks. As if showing it all, she activates a monitor on the wall which shows a map of the Soviet Union with a map of Moscow in its corner. As you can see, we're already working on figuring out its location. You ought to know that the KGB's remote viewing division is the best in the world. In another hour, we'll have combed all of Moscow. Another hour after that, we'll send our squad in and disarm the bomb. In fact, we've already briefed every major Soviet newswire about this, and it hasn't even happened yet. Tomorrow morning, they'll have the locations and times right, and everyone will know. And Angie, I can't stress enough, it hasn't even happened yet. And that's how little I need information from you. I don't even need to ask the precogs if I want to know the future. You know, that's a shame that you're a spy. I don't think they'll offer a Nobel Peace Prize if they have to make it out to Agent Hurricane. She turns off the monitor, scowling. You know, that's a shame. She turns off the monitor, scowling, and then slugs me in the jaw. No psychic tricks there. I can see her do it. The blow was hard enough to send my head spinning, hard enough to fill my mouth with blood. Let me make this clear to you, Angie. I don't do that goofy-ass hurricane shit anymore. I'm not playing around this time, and now my code name is Psycho Soldier Number 7. You'd better remember that if you want to hold onto your teeth. I spit, spewing blood from the cold stone floor. You know, if you hated the code name so much, there's an easier way than another punch. Even harder this time. Ugh. Psychic attacks are one thing, but brute force physical attacks are something else entirely. It really is the immediacy that gets to you. There's no thinking away a black eye or a broken nose. Okay, fine, you win. But if you really don't need information out of me, then why am I here? Has age got you sentimental, Isabel? You know, Angie, I know you think you're being clever right now, but I intend to live a long, full life. 45 is still pretty young if you ask me. And you should be careful making those kinds of remarks. Another hit. This one is so fast I don't even see it coming. But so immediate that I have to believe that it was real. 40 will be on top of you before you know it. You won't be so fucking schmarmy about it then. As for your question, well, believe it or not, this is an invitation. You think you can get me to defect? Oh, Angie. I would never underestimate how stupid you can be, but I hope that I can. The Psychics Division of the KGB has had their eye on you for a long time, you know. I've convinced them that this will be a waste of your talents to have you killed. And so, invitation is perhaps the wrong word to use. After all, that implies I'm giving you a choice. As things stand now, Angie, this is your last chance. If I can't get through to you, no one else will ever have the chance to. If you understand my meaning. You ought to know who you want to find, or else they'll send your invitation to the wrong place. My codename is Psychic Secret Agent Angela Gorpheus Rhythmic Triad Typhoon. I prefer my enemies call me that. Oh, Angie. Always clever, never smart. I ought to have beaten that bad habit out of you when I had the chance. Well, too late for that now. And I think that you'll find that your position is not nearly as strong as you think it is. Number 7. She smiles again without warmth. Don't play tough. You remember our games back at Langley, don't you? Sitting out in the grass, like a goddamn picnic. We called it training, but anyone who wasn't on our level would have called it a fight to the death. The only rules were that we sat unmoving, back to back with our eyes covered. Anything else was fair game. Her scalpel technique was no less refined then. She had the kind of active imagination you need to be a standout Esper. At the time, I was proud to just be considered in her league. She would try slicing my eyes open, or cutting into the valves of my heart, or embedding shards of metal in my brain. I would counter by sending big bubbles of air through her veins and induce a pulmonary embolism. When I was on the offensive, I would tie bands of steel wire around her neck that would grow tighter and tighter, or fill her lungs with gas dust, and she would turn fire by walking up my spine and severing any nerves she thought she could. At the end of it all, we would just collapse, panting and sweating, feeling lucky to be alive. But we were alive then more than we had ever been, and seemingly more than we would ever be. Even when we were on equal footing, you never did manage to beat me. And now I'd say that the things are heavily tipped in my favor. All that means is that I've got ground to make up. But I learned from the best. What's the point of winning if it's a sure thing? I think I'll go with... But I learned from the best. She scowls. You know, flattery will get you nowhere. It's not flattery. If anything, it's bragging. The best in the world trained me, and I haven't missed a day of practice. What does that make me? Well, I couldn't say. And the past is the past. Have you kept well as I have? Has life in the Soviet Union softened you up? I'm sharper than ever, actually. She doesn't hit me, just rests her knuckles against my forehead. Naturally, I'm powerless to stop her, as she looms over me. Having something to work for has energized me. This, more than anything, is what surprises me. I say aghast. I've never thought I'd see the day that Agent Hurricane grew on ideology. Weren't you the one who always told me the beliefs were a liability? Punch? She flicks me on the temple with her index finger. It doesn't hurt exactly, but it cuts through the shock and leaves me queasy. I won't take that from you, of all people. There may not be a more ideological agent in the whole CIA than you. And besides, I don't exactly consider myself a doctrine communist. It's not in fashion anymore, I suppose. You don't see many of those around anymore. I don't imagine she does. After all, at this point, real doctrine communists may be more surveilled, policed, and deintegrated than doctrine free market capitalism in the Soviet Union. While they can't control their publication like the Catholic Church could with the Bible, before Gutenberg came along and mucked it all up, the Soviets had built up a sort of priesthood around Marx and Engels. The ideas contained in their writings are so subtle and complex that the average person would certainly be led into revisionism if they read them for themselves. They need party academics and functionaries to read the works first, to premasculate their interpretations for them and feed them like baby birds. Lenin is only a little better, though. If the party bigwigs had their way, the youth would all be reading Stalin instead. Anything after the Second World War, but before 58 or so, is also sketchy at best, even the stuff that was considered kosher at the time. But still, I could believe if she had no ideology, and I could believe if she professed to being a dyed-in-wool red. But this wishy-washy in-between shit is totally unlike her. I mean, I know she was never that committed to capitalism, but belief of any kind in anything was always a bit too earnest for her. But she believed in what she believed in, even if what she believed in was having no beliefs. And I think there's no point in anything less. If you believe in something, you believe in it. And if you don't, you don't. The only people who sit on the fence, or who have one foot on one side and another in the other, are cowards who don't know what it is that they really believe in. Or so I thought. Anyway, I just can't believe it. If you're not a red, then why are you so keen on having me join up with them? She's right, of course, that I don't have a lot of options. In fact, if only this invitation she proposes that counts for me still being alive. If the KGB's intel is really so good, and they want me gone, I wouldn't have walked out of the hotel room alive. Hell, I wouldn't have even set foot in Moscow. Because you're needed here, or at least wanted. And we want you so that much. And we want you so much that if we can't have you, we won't let anyone else have you either. I'm actually needed in the States. She bugs out of her eyes in a display of fainted surprise. Oh, is that so? Are you now? Because to me, this looks like a suicide mission. You drew the short straw, and now they've sent you into the lion's den. You're disposable to them, just another pawn Billy Goat moves around as accords with its whim. A minor sacrifice. If that's what being needed is like, I'm glad I got out before I became unnecessary. And what did it get you then? For betraying your country? For betraying me? She scratches her chin. Well, the pay's a bit better. Socialized medicine is nice too, even if the wait times are a bit on the long side. Good benefits. Don't bullshit me. I gave you an answer that fucking dumb deserves. She wraps her knuckles on my head again. Every touch from her, even the most glancing contact, makes the pain a little worse. The shock has all but worn off, but still, somehow, her touch causes the pain to flare up just a little bit more. There are such things as stupid questions, you know. Alright then, how's this? Why'd you do it? She strikes me again, but I can tell from the force or the lack thereof that her heart's not really in it. I mean, it still hurts like hell, especially without the cushioning of shock, but her first few blows were much worse. Maybe I just wanted to be on the winning team for once. We are the winning team. I thought the communists were supposed to be the materialists. Our GDP and GNP are way above that of the USSR. How were they supposed to win when we make so much more money? You jump ship to the losers. And I want to know why. If you really aren't ideological, then why? Angie, who do you think is winning the Cold War right now? We're gonna win, Isabel. It doesn't matter how long it takes. This mission is probably a failure, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna win. And that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is who you think is in the lead right now. In the great battle for hearts and minds, who do you think is winning? This is an interesting moment to take a pause. If you were to say capitalism versus communism, or collectivism versus imperialism, maybe? I'd say, well, if we were to say those are the two sides, right? Or two sides we could, compare, I guess? The hearts and minds, because I'm also reflecting on the world that we're living in right now. Because, you know, we still see people being like, I can't imagine a world beyond capitalism. We still see people going, I want capitalism to be a gentler, kinder capitalism. But, like, materially, people helping each other just looks a lot better and like a safer side to be on than the side that'll let you die in the gutter. And especially from where we're sitting, as unvaluable as we are. The USSR is ahead right now, sad to say. We've got to get forceful enough with our actions. And then the blowback to them has been public enough. That third world countries are wary of approaching us. Even right-wing governments trying to wipe out communists within their own borders don't necessarily want to come to us for help. Something about US-trained Tokmanov patch death squads in Latin America being all over the news does that? Well, look, we can't control how our local contractors choose to accessorize, but I have to admit, if war broke out tomorrow, which Billy Goat seems to want to happen, if it does, then we'll be hard-pressed to find allies in the third world. I mean, speaking of Topkov, the third world may find themselves in the same position as Europe at the start of the Second World War, not wanting to pick a side before it's clear who's the winner is going to be, but definitely knowing who they hope is going to lose. She smiles. I couldn't have said it better myself, but I don't think the USSR is winning either. Then what the hell are you even doing here? Are you so cocky that you want to try working for the losers as a challenge now? Not quite. Rather, I think the Soviet Union is in a unique historical position to make itself of use to the world. The US is losing and the USSR is losing, but the whole world loses if the USSR can't maintain its position as a global superpower. There's no point in having a USSR without a United States. And conversely, there's no point in having a United States without a USSR. We need each other, Isabel. I'm not just talking about our states, but us too. If we don't have a counterbalance, then there's nothing keeping us honest. We make big promises, but there's nobody else on the world stage to witness us. Then there's no real incentive to make good on them. There's no real incentive to make good on those promises now. Maybe all that was true in the 60s, when hot war seemed all but inevitable. When we all thought another nuclear strike could come at any time, but times have changed. Oh sure, you and I wasted our youths keeping communism contained, but the idea that capitalism is going to eradicate communism or vice versa is a relic of the 20th century. Our governments are more than happy to live and let live so long as our neighbors don't get any funny ideas. Well, maybe I've just handed you your war and tried to give you your nuclear strike. The only way that that would be a hot war is if the United States is truly pig-headedly stupid, which you know, you can never count that out. They tried this plan after all. Oh, hey Banu, how's it going? We're seething for multiple reasons, but trying to seethe productively. It being Mayday and all. Solidarity forever. Labor's rights, you know? It's taking a bit of an established Stalinist state with a sect of offshoots, but yeg. If you don't have the Cold War, they only have hypernormality. They only have the gnawing maw of neoliberalism. Even in an alternate reality, yeah. The little seether. I gotta do my best. You nibble at the ankles of the oppressors, and if enough of us nibble, then they lose a foot, right? At least I like to think so. Although sometimes I think about whether or not, you know, streaming about my beliefs makes that much of a difference. But that would be sort of falling into nihilism. Though there is some direct action happening near us that we were contemplating. How are you doing? Well, I guess I haven't asked chat how everyone's doing. That's usually how we start streams, but we kind of started cold, so we didn't have the buffer of a crinkle bump to ingratiate viewers and wait for a big moment. And we've been reading so much and talking about, well, workers' rights and the tyranny of the state, suppression, that we forgot through all the sieving. Hi, everyone. I'll say again, how are you today? Most folks here right now probably missed the earlier part. We'll have that standalone posted, just talking about the history of workers' rights and May Day and why Labor Day in America isn't on the same day as Labor Day in the rest of the world. Well, sorry, the U.S. and Canada. Ugh. I'm getting ready to go to work to kill the dysphoria in transes. Oh, sick. I always love that that's the way you talk about your job. This is on multiple levels, Yuri. This is Yuri on multiple levels? Oh, wait, are you making like a Soviet joke? I think you're making a Soviet joke. Oh, I love Yuri. Yeah, this is from the 2026 Ryoma Jam. One of our friends, Joystick, and her, what do you call it, like visual novel circle made this game. Pretty sick. Streaming does have a limited scope, it's true. Yeah, we're what would we say, like variety of tactics or something. We can only do so much. I mean, even as an artist, we can only do so much. We actually like did some art, some pro-trans art, in a like a physical space. It was so weird. It felt like really exposing. But we don't know if it got anyone thinking even, because it's not like this where like there's a whole comment section, you know. But even then, like a YouTube video, even 100,000 comments doesn't actually equal change. We like to think that like a protest is more as like reaffirms the people who already want to do stuff and encourages them to do stuff. And until we have a bigger platform, we can't even really say that we have a huge microphone. We have like a tiny paper cup. But damn it, I'll yell from the mightiest towers on my paper cup. Yeah, I'm an electrologist. It's true. You kill the dysphoria. A dysphoria killing warrior you are. This reminded me of Heaven Will Be Mine, kinda. I love Heaven Will Be Mine. It's such a good game. We should return to it one day. We've played it and streamed it a few times. We even did a short video essay on it some years ago. But like, we have like so much more of a well-reasoned political view on things now that we think that we would be able to say more succinctly about it these days. I want to stay home and keep working on Devotion. You're a beautiful masterpiece of an RPG, of course. Ugh. I've been modeling a small evil mouse woman and it's going well. Praise be to the small evil mouse woman. You haven't seen her content yet. Ooh woo. I can't wait to get back into it. We're friends with such skillful individuals. Sorry, is there a mouse at my door? Hail to the priestess of evil mouse women. Just got up and my neck hurts. Oh, I'm sad that you got up on the wrong side of the bed, Fizzle. Well, welcome to the fold and welcome to stream. I guess we'll... Actually, it's probably a decent moment to save, even though it's not a choice here. You never know. Let's get back to toxic Yuri anti-capitalism. The only way there would be a hot war is if the United States is truly pig-headedly stupid. Which, you know, you can't ever count that out. They tried this plan, after all. But now, if they tried, I can say with confidence that the USR would win. And it would be the death of the United States. It would smash itself to pieces against the rocks of the USSR, in much the same way that Nazi Germany did during the Second World War. Perhaps we could partition Los Angeles with some Allied power, just for old time's sake. Oh my gosh, like Hollywood and stuff? Oh, that's a deep cut. And then work would have to begin. We would need a Soviet version of your country's Marshall Plan, but for the entire world. We would need to rapidly decarbonize industry to appropriation international water rights, to assure global security, to produce a new system of international law, all of it quickly and decisively. Sounds great on paper, but what about actually doing it? I know for a fact that the administrators of your state oil and natural gas companies aren't gonna like that first part at all. And as for the rest of it, how many of your party leaders and Pirachkis are just fascists waving hammers and sickles? If you win, how many of them are gonna be happy not retreating back into nativism? How do you know that all of these interests and more won't make your Marshall Plan something even worse than the way things are now? You don't, do you? You can't, can you? That's right, of course, I can't be certain, but that's why I need you, Angie. She places her fingers beneath my chin, lifting my head up, so I have no choice but to look into her eyes. I need you. I have the ease of a few keys! I need you. I have the ears of a few key officials in the Communist Party, but I need more people on my side if they're going to take control. I need loyal people. Talented people. I need people that I know have what it takes. I need people that I know I can trust. And this cockamamie scheme is just not the best use of your talents. If anything, I would say that the Billy Goat is taking advantage of your loyalty and throwing you away. What then is the problem with taking one country's trash and making another country's treasure? And then the phone on the wall began to ring. It's funny, I hardly even noticed it was there. With all the shocks that I've suffered, that little detail just fell into the background. Ah, speaking of cockamamie schemes, I believe that my man on the line will have good news for me. Stay right there. And she picks up the phone. A man on the other end begins to speak to her in rapid-fire Russian. And I use the opportunity to get a better sense of my surroundings. There's an IV and stand right next to me, with some strange murky liquid inside, and the tube is hooked into one of the veins in my wrist. The door at the end of the room is blocked by the metal gate, and it's a pretty sturdy looking one. Not the kind that gets easily barricaded, the kind of thing easily breached. And the monitor seems off, though where its power source even is, it's hard for me to tell. In short, it's hard to see an easy way out of here. Isabel hangs up and says, "Well, that's that. They found the bomb. So that's your one major advantage up in smoke. I need to go fill out some paperwork." She goes over to the IV drip and its mysterious liquid and releases a valve attached to the tube. "I'll be back when I'm done. Until then, enjoy your nap." The liquid in the bag shifts slightly, and before I even know it, I can feel myself falling asleep. Wow, that's convenient. Yeah, but you're doing great work. We can't wait to like dig deeper into devotion. It validates a lot of our a lot of the things that we sometimes think that we're alone in. We'll leave it at that till we're playing it again. Really has us wanting to step up our game. Having so many... I guess that's also the thing about having artist friends, that also encourages you to do your thing and, like, you know, make the most of your, some would say talents, but we would say skills, because you do it by working on it. Skill is a chisel, or rather, a block that you chisel over a lifetime. It can be really surprising the value that your art can have for others. Static. I wake slowly, to a dull ache that seeps into my bones. I feel as if I'm in some strange in-between, like I'm awake but somehow still dreaming. There's something important that I feel I absolutely must remember, but I have no idea which side it comes from the nonsense of my dreams or the cold logic of reality. All this is exactly equal to me now, and in fact, The one is indistinguishable from the other. I find myself indescribably worried about about recalling the exact details of some information, but I think was imparted to me in a dream, which seems to be of the utmost importance to the situation. If only I can remember what it was supposed to be. The urgency of the thing is only exacerbated by the pain that I'm feeling, which, with every second, seems to spread wider and wider. I feel like my skin is pavement and the pain is the roots of a tree growing underneath, spreading and stretching and threatening to crack me open. As the pain pulls me out of sleep and into the waking world, I find that the information I had to remember is slipping further and further away from me. Pain, after all, is nothing more than the body's way to force a shift in priorities, and right now, my body's screaming insistence that there is a foreign object inside itself, and that the foreign object is growing, will accept no higher priority. When I open my eyes, I swear that I can see it, behind my own back, in ghostly silver outline, a tree whose trunk grows up where the IV has been stuck into my wrist, and whose roots are now spreading through my veins and my arteries. Though on one level I can see that there's nothing there, on another I can swear that I can see these roots bulging out from under my skin. My hand feels numb, more numb than when Isabel robbed me of the sensation of my fingers. I can feel them now, or rather, feel that they are not responding, as numb as the rest of my hand. A psychic attack can't really stop the flow of your blood, of course. In that case, you would just stop the flow of blood to the brain and psychics would silently kill people from a distance. But sensation is all signals, all of it, and the pain of the roots is nauseating enough that I can't effectively fight its corollaries. It's fight enough to just sit there in agony, gritting my teeth down to dust and wrestling with my stomach. Isabel sits across from me, in a chair of her own, one leg over the other, a pleased look on her face. If this psychic attack asks anything of her, she's not letting it show. Art begets art. Did you post your other sketches anywhere? Oh yeah, no, I don't think we did. We just posted the main finished piece. We were thinking that we're probably going to continue doing sketches during our current playthrough, and then do like a big art dump of them all. We'll be sure to do it. We'll be sure to make a big art dump in your Discord server of it when we do. Though I guess we should post the stuff that the thing that we already did, especially since we've been posting it elsewhere on the internet. We're really proud of that piece. It's the thumbnail of our devotion VOD. Before I get sidetracked, I also want to mention for this game, the alliteration is super poetic. The very beginning in particular, but this coming back to consciousness part too. I was like, I gotta also glaze the game I'm playing right now because, oh boy. I mean, like, obviously they're doing a lot with the different, like, art aesthetics they got going on. They got this really cool overlay. They got the fucking, like, low poly 3D models. You know, they got this, this, like, 2D art of the characters that they shovel the papers, for showing who's talking. They got, like, different fucking facial expressions for them, too. Like, oh, this is pretty great. Okay, Fluffs, I'm at work. Take care and stay safe. You too, bun. Don't get lost whacking the weeds of dysphoria. We'll see you on the other side. Isabel sits across from me. What the fuck is that sound? It's all undulating. It makes me think of someone like stirring oatmeal. Isabel sits across from me in a chair of her own, one leg over the other, a pleased look on her face. If this psychic attack asks anything of her, she's not letting it show. In fact, this may well be some new technique she's been practicing, and she might be excited that it's actually bearing fruit. So, Do you keep up with the news in the Western energy markets? Can't say I do. That's a shame, you know. You can gather an enormous amount of geostrategic information based only on the reporting on energy markets in the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times. I know that I should keep it together, but still, the reference to such dry reading material while I'm in such acute pain only makes the nausea worse. If she mentions the Tokyo Stock Exchange, I am going to puke. Obviously, people want to go places and have light and heat wherever they are, but energy prices are also a stand-in for any number of other commodities, food being one of the most important ones. Thanks for the investment pitch. I'll get my broker on the phone as soon as I get out of here. I'm going somewhere with this. She's seemingly more concerned with our little financial advice seminar than she is with maintaining the integrity of her psychic attack, even as it climbs up my arm towards my shoulder. What I mean to say is, in spite of all the propaganda you receive that suggests the United States is doing just fine, the energy markets tell a very, very different story. Western energy markets are in chaos right now, especially given the trouble in Venezuela. And only the people trading in them are allowed to realize that fact, let alone its ramifications. You couldn't even make hay out of it as a Western politician, not without sounding like you're whining about prices at the pump. But it means that something very, very big is coming. Again, I say, feeling the roots coil like serpents around the ball joint that connects arm to shoulders. A great conversation to have with my broker. Angie, have you ever heard of an economic philosophy known as the New Liberalism? What's wrong with the old one? Not profitable enough. At least not profitable enough for the elite of the elite. And so, it's going away, and you're going to be doing the new liberalism instead. And what the hell does that have to do with energy markets? Absolutely everything. It's like I said, energy prices are upstream of all kinds of economic activity, including the production of food. Fossil fuels are becoming harder to produce at scale for any number of reasons, including political ones. But the United States are not invested in alternatives like we have. Now there's nowhere to run. You've trapped either investing huge sums of money into military pursuits, trading huge amounts of money for our fossil fuels, or investing huge sums of money to spin up a clean energy sector that can actually handle demand. Slowly but surely, energy will get more and more expensive. And those raising prices will throttle the entire United States economy from the bottom up. Even if you can manage to economically import enough food to maintain a stable population, how will you run factories, transit, office parks full of capitalist bureaucrats? Consultancy firms cannot be run by candlelight. And so the energy sector that made your economy after the Second World War, the spiraling suburbs and their associated overconsumption, will eat your empire alive. And your Western economists will come to realize this, albeit too late. The Bushes and the Clintons have tried to raise some hell around the Middle East to try to scare them into forking over oil, but the US can no longer make good on its saber rattling. You no longer have the military enough that full invasion is a threat. The CIA's actions in Latin America have alienated you from the rest of the world, and even your nuclear deterrent is weaker than ever. After 65 years and massive nuclear proliferation, no one thinks you have the stones. Mutually assured destruction, after all, is bad for business. You are now gray and aged empires, only you have not prepared even as poorly for that reality as we have in the Soviet Union. And so, your economists have proposed moving on to a new imperial phase, one not predicated on military and cultural dominance, but on the economic power of the new liberalism. You see, there's still an absolutely unbelievable amount of value trapped in the US economy, but it's not particularly liquid. Even if it's not what she means, just the mention of the word liquid sends my stomach into somersaults. I fight the vomit reflex in my throat, even as a bit of stomach acid snakes its way into my mouth. The roots have now fully taken over my shoulder, making my entire arm numb. Now they toy with my collarbone. I feel as though my head is consumed by a low-level fire with no respite to be found. Things like pensions, welfare, infrastructure, for things like mail, power, water, public transit, water disposal, law enforcement, public defense, and so on. All of these are near government monopolies. Why, it's almost Stalinist! And so, with the new liberalism, all these services and more can be returned to the market, and to market efficiencies. Not coincidentally, those who are already wealthy and well-connected, who will have the resources to, say, spin up a private waste disposal service, to collection a new government contract, will make off like bandits. Your government may as well print money directly into their pockets. It will exist for two purposes: to do that printing, and to keep the people in the US, or of anywhere else, from intercepting it. What's the point? When the point of no return is reached, the US economy is no longer a going concern. When Western energy markets have collapsed, it will already be too late to do anything about it. The new liberalism will have shaved costs and cut corners to the point that they will have strip-mined everything. And the tricks, which will have grown fat off your and the ticks who have grown fat off your blood will send a new host to parasitize. Preferably one with a future less dour. That's a nice conspiracy theory. I try to ignore the fact that the roots are now only spreading across my chest, but upward towards my brain and downward towards my heart. I don't buy any of this bullshit, but it's at least a distraction from the crawling of the roots caressing my organs. It's all I can do to keep from expelling the contents of my stomach at present. It's certainly the kind of thing I'd expect a defector of the Soviet Union to believe. But it's just a little bit too convenient, wouldn't you say? It presumes that not only will the US collapse, but that we'll do it ourselves, and with our own markets no less. Sorry, I don't buy it. Very few outside the financial world take it all that seriously, but the new liberalism is already hard at work. Even if you don't believe it, you're still working in its name. Spare me the metaphysics. I don't have time to be chatting. If the roots make it to my brain or to the heart, then that's it for me. But what can I do? My watch is on my right wrist, and my wrist is now the corner of those very same roots. It's not metaphysics. I'm speaking as concretely as I ever have. In order to sell the new liberalism to the masses, they're using you and your bomb to gin up a new hot war. They'll use the crisis as their excuse. They'll say that just as FDR needed to make sweeping changes to the economy to make the movement of the Second World War, so too they'll need to make sweeping changes to meet the moment of the Third. The only difference is that they'll be moving in the exact opposite direction. In order to win, they'll say, the economy must be turned over to the efficiencies of the free market. By the time the war is over, which won't be all that long, food and water will be unaffordable. You won't be able to get anywhere, and the people responsible will have fled to a tax shelter somewhere warm ages ago. You, Agent Typhoon, are nothing more than a delivery girl connecting disparate parts of a plan whose existence you are unaware of. The fact that you are incredulous works only to the plan's advantage. Did you know that Billy Goat personally has significant stock holdings in every major US and US-backed astrospace firm, and sits on the board of more than one holding group which has been quietly amassing the capital needed to provide private water and road infrastructure? In fact, it's almost a wonder they let intelligence people sit on those boards and have those holdings. It's the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times again. If I didn't have people in the CIA, all I would have to do is find a list of every major shareholder in Gurnman. I'd have better than even odds saying any one of them was CIA, or at least CIA connected. But it's alright if you don't believe that. In fact, I think that's what Billy Goat would prefer. I think he would enjoy it if you remained docile and stupid, and never complained about what a bad deal you've been cut. His great-grandchildren will be drinking martinis on the beach in the Cyclades from the money he'll make, and you'll be lucky if you leave this room alive. The roots are now worming their way. The roots are now worming their way up my jugular vein. It's strange. I don't feel more frightened or even more sedate, like a prey animal that's realized it's too late to avoid being eaten. Rather, the pain has begun to unpeel my consciousness from my body. The noise of my brain's warning sirens feels as if it's growing more distant. If I really try, I can tune in, but when I say, in that case, it's already too late. I'm surprised when the mouth attached to the stranger's body is the thing that moves. For you, yes, it is. Even if you somehow manage to escape, you'll be working for a dead state walking. It won't be too long until you're spying on your own citizens, trying to keep them from rising up against the decisions of men like Billy Goat. You won't be a spy, you'll be a gangster, trying to get your own population to pay the protection racket and go to war quietly. But it's not yet too late for the Soviet Union. If there's going to be a war, then that means we'll have our own opportunity for sweeping changes. And with you by my side, we can make the most of it. We can sweep away the old bureaucracy and the bad habits we've built up over decades of decline, and we can reinvigorate not just the Soviet Union, but the entire world! The USSR can become the world's one and only superpower, the kind of one-world government, and we can use that imperial renaissance to transform the entire world in our own image. But it's not too late for me, at least not yet. There has to be a way, especially with my consciousness severed from my body. There has to be some psychic trick I can use to get out of this. But my watch, my one lifeline, isn't psychically enabled. I insisted on that, likely. It's the only reason why I even still have it. And if there's something else I can do, I can't think of it. As long as I'm alive. The stranger's body intones. Then it's still not too late. The roots are at my head now, slithering across the surface of my eyes and digging into the folds of my brain. It's only a matter of time until they wrap themselves around my heart. She says correctly. Well then, it's very close to too late. And you know, it's a shame, Angie. I never wanted it to end like this. You're too valuable to just be thrown away. Then maybe we could come to some kind of arrangement? I'm not gonna say that I agree with you just to save my own skin. But something about the mission did just feel off, you know? Like Cassandra just vanished during the prep phase, weeks before we were set to go. And we just did the mission anyway. And like, do you know when the last time they sent me to Russia was? It was in 2009. The same mission you defected on. And then all of a sudden, 8 years later, I'm being sent back. And all I can think is, I know Cassandra was compromised, but am I really next in line to do this? And of course they're blowing us all off, not just me, but the infiltration team and the rendezvous team and everybody, and we all had our own explanation. But no two of us had the same explanation, and look, I know this is fucking crazy. This is a crazy idea, and we all knew that it was fucking crazy, and when they gave us no reason to think that it wasn't, we all just went along with it anyway. I know that. If you wanted to just kill me, you wouldn't be doing all this silly bullshit. You'd have just hired a sniper to watch my hotel room, and that would have been the end of it. So if all you want is for me to help you with your scheme, then fine, I'll do it. I don't want to be loyal to the Soviet Union, and I can't say that I believe in new liberalism. But if all you want to do is fuck with the brass of the USSR, then fine, I'll do it. I'll do it, okay? I'll do it. Just take these roots out of my head, please. Really? She asks, incredulous. You'll really do it? Just like that? Yes, you win, okay? You win. You twisted my arm, I'll do it. Now please take the roots away. Roots? What do you... Ah, yes, I think I understand what you mean. But Angie... Those aren't roots, they're tubes. It must be surprising to learn that someone's cracked working directly on the brain. But what can I say? Dissidents from the Middle East and West Asia have provided me with plenty of practice. Are you gonna brainwash me into being a communist? No. Such adventure novel shenanigans may not even be possible. Requires too much fiddling with parts of the brain we don't understand nearly well enough. And besides, building up is much harder than breaking, when the latter works just as well as the former in most cases. I'm not going to brainwash you. I'm going to do something far more subtle. I'm going to break your pride. My pride? Everyone has something that drives them. Even if that's just the drive to be like all the other monkeys in their little monkey tribe. And you will never be safe for me to invest in until we can let go of your stupid pride in being a spy. You won't be a useful part of my plan unless I can get you to stop seeing yourself as a novel protagonist given flesh. And luckily, there's an anatomical feature that corresponds to that kind of counterproductive pride. The scientists call it the Fleming clot. The Fleming clot? The Fleming clot. She explains with each repetition of the phrase, the more keenly I can feel it inside my head. It's a small clot inside your brain which prevents you from recognizing categories of other people as human beings, which also extends to seeing their nations and other forms of social organizations as legitimate. As one carries out dehumanizing work, such as spying, the Fleming clot begins to form in the brain's so-called fusiform face area, which regulates the recognition and interpretation of faces. The The flaming clot presses against the parts of the fully formed face area, and upon looking into an undesirable, tells the brain that what it's looking at is not a real person. Over time, and with further dehumanization, it just grows larger and harder. We've autopsied several hardline nationalist politicians and found multiple flaming clots, some of them the size of gravel pebbles, hard enough to roll between your fingers without squishing. We believe they must have seen racial undesirables with the same lack of recognition that an ordinary human would holding a baboon towards a baboon in a cage at a zoo. They might not have even been able to recognize the species of creature they were looking at because their falsiform face areas were so deformed. That doesn't make sense. And yet you can feel it, can't you? And I can. I have no idea where in the brain the fully formed face area is supposed to be, and I can't pinpoint where I feel it, but I can absolutely feel the flaming clot somewhere in there. It's like a stone inside my head, radiating pain. Even floating a few inches away from my body, it's impossible to ignore. You're lucky, you know. If you carried on like this much longer, the flaming clot might have hardened, and you'd been beyond help. And you're right, it's not too late for you, and don't worry, when it's all over, you won't even feel like anything happened at all. And the roots, or rather the tubes, begin to seep a strange liquid into my brain. It's cold, but what sends shivers through me is how the liquid permeates into the clot, which now feels less like a pebble and more like a stone, large enough to fit in the palm. It dissolves around the edges and in porous cavities like those of pumice stone, and a cloud of particulates swirls in the liquid around it, and I see a vision. I'm a small child in the streets of Juarez with my mother and my grandmother and my sisters, and there's a man covered in blankets, despite the heat slumped against the concrete wall of a building, and my mother yanks my arm to pull me away from him, and I am stuck with the blinding realization that this man is a human being. And then the floodgates open. I see hundreds, thousands, millions of human faces in front of me. I am forced to realize that they are all human, all fully human. Not a single one of them anything less than human. As the flaming clot continues to disintegrate, softening the shredding parts, the liquid warming with time, I realize that everyone I have ever met or will ever meet is a human being. I'm beginning to realize that my entire life has been an exercise in deluding myself into believing that everyone is exactly the same. But in truth, no one is interchangeable. All the things that I've done to people, not communists, anarchists, syndicalists, nationalists, what have you, but to fellow human beings. And that makes me ashamed. I'm ashamed of the things that I've done and the things that I've said. I'm even ashamed of how I'm dressed. My coat is much thinner than it looks. I've been cold since I got to Moscow. What was the point of that? I feel as though I've been caught walking out of my apartment without my shirt on, and when asked about it, I tried to spin it as some kind of feminist statement, even though everyone knows that I don't care about that. It's not even necessarily that it's embarrassing, though it certainly is. Rather, instead of gracefully accepting that I was wrong and hurrying home, I'm insisting, in spite of all evidence to the contrary, that I meant to fuck up and that everyone else is too stupid to get it. All that in spite of knowing in the back of my mind that I actually did fuck up. But as soon as I admitted to myself that I have to be vulnerable to others, and so I'll never admit it even to myself. When I look up at Isabel, I realize that she looks older. she's only 45, so she doesn't look old, per se, just older. The long hours and the stress of the job have finally gotten to her, and now she doesn't even look that much like she used to. I'm surprised, really thinking about it, that I was able to recognize her at first glance. When she removed the blindfold, maybe it was just that I knew her voice. She doesn't look like she's just brainwashed me. I'm going along with her megalomaniacal plan. Looking at her. Really looking at her. At the streaks of gray already beginning to show themselves in her hair. At the tiredness of her eyes. I see someone who has devoted a very long time to concocting strategies to fight the inevitable. It's sad. Really. I don't know if she realizes how much of a long shot her plan is. Perhaps if she did, she would just collapse. Perhaps it's the confidence that not only can this plan work, but that it certainly will, that's kept her going all this time. To be honest, it's making me want to cry a little. Who's to say she can actually win? Who's to say that one woman can really alter the course of history? Who's to say the USSR won't also want in on new liberalism? Who's to say that if by some miracle Isabel does win, that the Soviet Union will actually change? Who's to say that the USSR will be able to control the world as tightly as it believes? Taking the look I give her as assent, she moves to take away the restraints. I do intend to help her, but that intent comes with the knowledge that in all likelihood it will come to nothing. All I want is to continue to experience this world at least a little longer. Where we're going, I don't know. But for her sake, I keep myself from crying. Damn, got a good ending. Fuck yes! Woo! You may take a bow, Joystick. I see you in chat. Sorry I didn't acknowledge you at first. Especially you came in right as like it was like climaxing and everything, and just a regular developers in chat moment, even though, I know you and we're not just parasocially acquainted. It was just like, and all the emotions. I just tried to keep going. You probably saw me fucking up words and shit here and there. It was just like, now that I am being watched behind the gaze of the author, now I'm fucking up. So I just tried to muscle through it. And if I'm not mistaken, there is multiple endings, right? I do really like this ending. Very good. Wow. Sorry, one of the devs. I mean, there's like 7-ish people on your team, right? Don't want to only give it up to you. And feelings are feelings. Gosh, I'm going to have to play this like multiple times, yeah. I guess I'll have to give it another run at some point. I only remember getting like 2 choices, so that's interesting. Maybe 3? So it really incentivizes you to play it from the beginning. So I'll have to set another day for that. 3 separate streams for this game. Huh. I mean, people have done more for visual novels, surely. I mean, shit, how many routes does Fate have, for example? This is turning very Metal Gear. Oh yeah, I would love like a fucking sequel. I love some psychic espionage Yuri action. Ophelia hasn't played any of the Metal Gear games, but she knew the inspiration would happen. Mm. My first client is late. How was the Yuri? Oh, it was great. Let's overthrow capitalism together. Is the ending we got, even though we might fail. The end title is a song reference. Oh. I mean, we'll post the VOD of just the gaming, right? Though we didn't actually recognize that this takes place on May Day when we decided, yeah, I guess we'll play it today, because we literally at the beginning of our stream did a whole history of May Day. And you know the fucking the martyr, the Mayday the Mayday bombing martyrs, and what happened with them, and even years later in America, read about from an anarchist perspective someone who like went to like a Mayday celebration that was honoring the dead martyrs, but recontextualizing them in a revisionist way to make it so that it was just about the 8-hour workday and like trade unionism and stuff, and not like, you know, anarchism and like, you know, like the upheaval of like, you know, like capitalism and, you know, all this like all the cruelty that like anarchists generally oppose. So we have laid the groundwork for a great understanding of some of the stuff that this text is sort of playing with and referencing to. And so the fact that it's sort of all sort of synergized this way is sort of beautiful. And it's sort of feeling like it could be a thing of like, yes, every Mayday let's play Project Typhoon. That's the sort of brainworms I'm feeling right now, because that was just like, that was too perf. All the ending titles are song references. Ooh. Oh yeah, I guess it'll be in a visual novel database. That makes sense. Ah, well, I mean, I'm kind of done with the game for now. When we stream it again, we'll put in its own stream category. But also, when we're playing indie games, generally we go get games and demos, unless it's a big thing, like, say, Hollow Knight, Fear and Hunger, or something like that. Because generally speaking, not a lot of people are going to run into it based off of the game category. I mean, I don't know how much play the game's been getting, but we didn't expect there to be many followers of Project Typhoon on Twitch, so we thought games and demos would have been better for visibility. I want to make an actual VN or two for the Toxic Yuri Game Jam. We also want to make a game for the Toxic Yuri Game Jam. Maybe we should work on something together. We've been really struggling with getting anything out because we always either overscope or like have a hard time in terms of like getting everything sorted out. And we've only ever worked with one other person trying to create something, so maybe we could get some of the queers together and do something. The Tatsugiri visual novel Game Jam 2 is happening next month. And we joined what is it called? I forgot what the fuck it was called. The Fluxer community for it. And we've been meaning to talk to people in there and build community and stuff. But like the fucking visual novel, the queer visual novel, and especially the Yuri visual novel scene is so cray right now. So much amazing artists in the room, really. Honestly, someone making a tradition of playing our game of all things would every year would be kind of cool. I mean, it fits. It's just I am not just trying to flatter you, but I am enjoying the flattering you. Auga! I have a couple of ideas in mind now. Oh, we do too. Although I also want to mention that part of how they're making it so that you can't work too much on your game beforehand. There is supposed to be a theme of the game jam, and they haven't revealed it. So until the month, or until, was it like June 1st or whatever, I think will be when it starts, we won't know the theme. But we've already been looking at stuff. We've been looking at like free use music, and there's also apparently a fucking image board for free to use visual novel backgrounds. A lot of them like photography taken by like visual novel developers that we found, that we've been perusing. We've never actually finished a game jam, so we're actually looking to folks that actually have. It's probably something we should have done a long time ago. Project Typhoon is free, everybody. If you want to get the other two endings before me and totally rub it in my face, you totally can by, I don't know, playing the game. You probably beat it faster than me, since, you know, I made sure I was voicing all the characters. Actually, next time, maybe I'll stream it with someone so that we can divide that labor up. Gonna make another game for the jam. Of course you are! Honestly, we're gonna be real. We're jealous, Joyce. You got like a fucking team and you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. We still have a lot of stuff that we're trying to work on, but like, we can show people concepts and we can talk about stuff that we want to do, but we have not been able to materialize it yet. And I think that that's a big step, and y'all are getting to your like Gravity House is doing bigger and bigger projects, and having played the other stuff, like seeing y'all's progress and like development maturing as like a development studio or circle or whatever, has been really awesome and inspiring to see. Like, really looking forward to whatever comes out of Gravity House, really. My scope last year for Devotion was so big, I'm not amazed how much got made. Oh yeah, I think it was surprising. We're glad that you Save for Prosperity, the Game Jam version as well, because I feel like the Game Jam version is something that, like, I don't know, it would be something good to look back at, like for like other RPG maker developers and like, you know, kind of doing an autopsy and figuring out like what's working and how to do something even half as like well working, you know? But I want to finish this year. Oh, really? We're doing the thing! Oh, gosh, I love how everyone came in now that I just finished a run. Oh, okay. Hello, Harmless. You did great work here. Really love all the, like the character portraits, as well as the, what do they call them? The CGs? My brain is going, caregiver? No, the CGs. Got the defecting to the Soviet Union ending. Really love that sketch at the end. Hope you're doing good, Mariah. Hope everyone's good on this May Day afternoon. Thank you for the kind words. We're trying our best. Let's hope everyone will have enough time. It's unclear if next time we will top Codename Typhoon. You don't have to top every project. Shit, if I don't know how much like how much work or how much like planning and everything to pull this off went into this versus like, you know, Gravity House duology, for example, or Layers to Rosa. But I mean, like, if y'all did like a less ambitious Project Nets, I think that would totally be okay. Not everything has to be a magnum opus. The fucking Cowboy Bebop director is allowed to make fuck, I forgot what that last anime he made was. It was pretty good though. Let's say Violent Days. There was Carol and Tuesday also, which I also still haven't seen. Is Carol and Tuesday Yuri? I wonder. I try on top of everything I do, but I try to top everything I do, but also that is very hard, and we set a very high bar for ourselves here. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I don't totally understand that motivation. I think we got art advice lately, specifically about drawing, that if you try to put like 120% to every piece, like every single piece, you're like, it's just gonna take a lot of energy, and like it'll be harder to, you know, do more. That sometimes it's okay to, like, you know, not do like your very, very best. And that's not to say do bad on purpose, but rather in terms of, like, say drawing, for example, you might know the difference between having like a colored piece and like a color shaded piece. Like, shading every single colored piece you do, or shading every piece you do, just takes a lot more effort accumulatively. And sometimes it's not worth that. Sometimes it's more worth getting the thing out than it being perfect. And, you know, there's also the matter of, like, taste and stuff like that. What you think is your best work is not necessarily what other people are gonna think is their best work. Although I would definitely say this is, like, technically the best game that y'all have released in terms of, like, everything that's going on. Like, it feels very succinct with what it's trying to say. It's emotional. It has more choice. Actually allowing for multiple endings. Like, there's a lot of different art assets. There's the original music. There's a lot going on, and it's obviously y'all trying to top the other projects. But also something that's, like, you know, in the vein of a game jam game, something done quick and dirty and in a hurry can still be tremendously powerful. Again, I say that everyone should also play Sassi Benui's Devotion. Amazing game, and the game jam version still holds up. The internal struggle of the ambition versus the desire to not kill oneself. Gosh, everything's going so far. Let's see. Lazarus. Work yourself to the bone and rise again. We're gonna make a good game next time. I hope so. Diarrhea? Diarrhea? Diarrhea is actually a base way to go about art? Oh, okay, I was like, diarrhea is what? Diarrhea is a great way to go about art. Shart and experiment and don't give a fuck. So as long as you move with your heart, it'll always outclass the completion head slop. Sorry, the comp head slop. I want the main thing with this game, honestly, to be like proving we could do multiple endings. Oh, that kind of makes we're a lot of how we're thinking about art lately is in a sort of like a drawer's brain sort of way. It's sort of the metaphor that we're going about a lot of stuff lately, especially because we've really struggled with getting back on the horse with video essaying, and really like video editing in general because of our technical limitations, and also needing to learn DaVinci Resolve now. but like doing art in a way to prove to yourself that you can do art in a way that you've never done before is kind of like makes me think of like doing art studies, you know, where you go, okay, I'm trying to work on this one thing. So like for us, we might be like right now we're playing a lot with shading, and we also are trying to learn like hatching technique. So we might do a lot of stuff with those elements in it. And so you basically learn by doing, or learn by failing, I guess. I wouldn't say you failed here. But then again, I haven't experienced the other endings and how you get to them. So we'll see if they're well executed. Oh, and the font was made for the game. Oh, love a custom font. Since our previous two are linear, but you know, it got away from us. Henny made the font and the main text. I'm just gonna pull up the credits. We showed it at the beginning, but... Oh, I know Mariah was on the team too. Nice. What was the violence consultation like? There's a couple other fonts that existed before. It's all in the menu credits. Oh, Death! I love Death! Was just talking about their work. Especially seemed kind of similar in how Dead to Death does like overlays in her visual novels, where it's like we've played Heatwave and we've played Attachment Doll, and the overlays for those are like so fucking sick. Still haven't played the other game. Wow, it's a small world. Artists all helping and inspiring each other. The basic concept was just, so what if the laser synced from Goldfinger, but it was Yuri, and certain choices could lead you to either bluff your way out or die or whatever. Oh, I see. Ophelia made it like a whole lot. Okay, so you were like the idea queer. It was just me messaging Kay about advice on the punching and kicking poses. Ah, okay. I mean, it's good to have references for what punching and kicking is like, so it feels it has that real impact. Licensing. Fonts used. Oh, you even credit the TV noise shader. Nice. Indestructible type. How does one even go about making a font? I know there's a lot of technical stuff to like getting it to like work within the program, or I guess it's not a lot if you actually know what you're doing. I guess there's a lot of ways to go about it. We once commissioned a font, but we had trouble using it. If you check the tools used in the credits, I'm sure it included the software Henny used. Ah, okay. Music, fonts, voice, additional programming. We've actually been falling off from Game Jam games in terms of playing them too. Like, we've mostly only played the stuff that people have directly asked us to play. Like, oh yeah, I made this. And of course, friends and stuff. So I do need to go back and do those stuff too. Glyphs! But yeah, let Let me share this with you all. So that's a link to the game. You can play yourself and get the other Yuri endings, or the one that I did, because it was the best one, obviously. I love it when gays kiss and make up psychically. Whew. Alright. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours, which actually isn't very long for us, and we actually do have a bunch of, what's that thing called? I was gonna say enthusiasm, but there's another word. Endurance. But there's no reason for us to, like, push ourselves to the utmost maximum. So, we will go on break and come back and, do something else. Probably something a little bit more fidgety. So we'll probably play I don't know what game we'll play yet. I don't want to make any promises. But we do have a community night tonight. We'll watch some anime. So if folks want to hang out, there's still that. Happy May Day and solidarity forever.